Today's show is brought to you by Woodward, PA. If you're looking for last-minute summer plans for your kiddos, over 200,000 children have had the summer of a lifetime at Woodward, PA. It's an overnight summer camp for ages 7 to 17 through August 15th. Programs include all kinds of things: skateboarding, mountain biking, scooters, BMX freestyle and race, parkour, roller skating, creative arts. They've got something for everyone. And they're pretty close, located 3 hours from Pittsburgh, about 30 minutes from State College. If you act now, they're offering $300 off a full week of summer camp for any program. All you have to do is enter the code CityCast, all one word, at checkout and get your kiddo ready for an unforgettable summer. Go to woodwardpa.com.
Today's episode is supported by AIDS-Free Pittsburgh. There are more than 5,000 people living with HIV in southwestern Pennsylvania, and the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program provides support services to help them get the care they need. That includes assistance with things like healthcare, medications, housing, transportation, food, and treatment for substance use disorders. Visit AIDSFreePittsburgh.org to learn more.
This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about. I feel like there are a million old Rite Aids, like empty, just sitting around the city, around the suburbs. Like there's like this empty shell, kind of like Domino's pizza buildings. Like you can always tell it used to be a Rite Aid or a CVS now. I know you have one in your neighborhood, and so do I. What do you think yours should become?
I feel like it's going to be played out to say an affordable grocery store, but that's sort of all I want in the city of Pittsburgh in any former space.
Dare to dream, Mallory.
If I want to go a more fun route, we've talked on the show about how there aren't really a ton of great skating rinks in and around Pittsburgh. So that would be my more fun, less practical answer.
I love that. No, that's great because like the tile lends itself. I mean, I don't know about you, but I learned how to roller skate in someone's kitchen on the tile. So I feel like that's like...
I think my local Rite Aid was carpeted.
Oh, I think you're right. There is carpet in there. Anyway, you get my spirit. I can't think of anything that fun. Like my first thought was like kind of like a candy store or something that's like small and kitschy, you know? A bookstore. I would like a bookstore in my neighborhood.
That's perfect. I'm glad we got to dreaming a little bigger and more fun.
I still think you win with the skating rink. I am with executive producer Mallory Falk. We're going to have some guest stars this episode, but we wanted to start off talking about maybe one of the funniest examples I have ever seen of Pittsburgh trying to protect its own pride in public. Also, why the villain in the Pittsburgh Mills mall story is, for some reason, taking over more property, this time downtown. And then we're going to share some events that we're looking forward to this week. This is a new little segment on the show. We hope you like it. So stay tuned and let us know. First up, Mallory, we are talking about Acrisure Stadium and a whole bunch of things that are happening down there.
Formerly known as Heinz Field, if you still haven't
Heinz
caught up years later.
Always.
Yeah, so the Steelers are replacing more seats at Acrisure. If you haven't been following the story, most of the seats at the stadium are original from when it was built in 2001. I'm going to lose all my Pittsburgh credibility here. I have never been to Heinz/Acrisure, so I cannot
You are
personally
shocking me today.
attest to the quality of the seating there if it's like extra janky.
I can't believe you've never been in, like, not for anything, because they do other kinds of events and stuff. Not to mention, like, they've been open to the public multiple times, like the NFL draft with the FIFA World Cup watch parties. Like, you can just go for free and check out the stadium.
It's true. This is a good reminder because in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to shell out that money and sit in the freezing cold. This doesn't sound appealing, but I forget there's other reasons you can set foot in there.
I mean, also, football season start. Not that you're a football fan, but football season does start when it's still warm outside.
It's true. It's true. The last time anyone else in my family went, they were wearing like, they had like mittens with hand warmers inside.
Oh, yeah.
And had their faces fully covered. And that's my image of watching a Steelers game.
No, my partner always goes with his childhood best friend because said best friend got on the list for season tickets when he was a child. These two were small children. And now they share the last game of the year together because it's impossible to sell a Christmas or January game on StubHub and get your money back. So that's their tradition. Anyway, these seats. I have never noticed personally because I try to go to a Steelers game once a year, every other year. And then I go to other events like concerts. Like we went to Monster Jam the other day, the monster trucks. That was a whole time. I did not notice that the seats have ever been that bad. Like they're a little faded, but because they're that bright yellow, or they historically have been very bright yellow, you don't really notice that they're in bad shape in the same way that you do when it's like a red or a blue, because like they change color so much. I don't know. I was really actually genuinely surprised when I saw that they were overhauling the seats, and also, oh my gosh, how much they cost.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there was some assessment that some of the seats are like detaching from the concrete or
And that would
rusting or
be
deteriorating.
important. Yeah.
Yes. So even if they like still look fine, they might be a safety hazard.
Right.
So this all starts with the Sports and Exhibition Authority here, which owns Acrisure.
That's right. And the SEA, as we tend to call it, it's like co-managed between the city and the county. The state gets involved sometimes. It's a little bit complicated, but they're the ones that like manage funding for our major arenas, the convention center, stuff like that.
Yes. So the new news is they just approved $5.8 million to replace around 18,000 seats at the stadium. They'd already approved a separate $12.4 million for some seats. Like the goal is to just eventually replace most of the seats in the stadium by next year. They're just doing it in phases.
Yeah, and I feel like it's worth remembering just how big Acrisure Stadium is. If I'm remembering right, it's a little over 68,000. Like it's a lot of people. It's certainly not the biggest arena by any stretch, but it's still like it holds a ton. And they've also expanded over the years too.
Yeah, I was reading about this in the Trib. I guess there's a little over 68,000 seats, and they want to replace about 58,000 of those. But I know, Megan, part of the reason you like flagged this story or thought it was funny is because of not replacing the seats themselves, but the decisions about the aesthetic, the color.
Yes, I think it's beautiful, the yellow seats, just because they're like so striking when you see flyovers. Like no matter why Pittsburgh is in the news, like even the opening scenes from the Pit, for example, which we love to point out, like the bright yellow seats of our bridges and like the stadium, and like we have a cohesive color palette, okay? And we've leaned into it over the years, but they're not replacing yellow with yellow this time. There will still be, of course, a ton of yellow because both Pitt and the Steelers use those colors. But here's the thing, Steelers games fill up. Like even when we're terrible, when we're a bad team, people go because it's the Steelers. When Pitt is not great, people don't go in the same way. And so they can't fill up the stands. And I have heard anecdotally from many, many people that part of the reason they are changing the color palette because they're adding in a gray, right?
Yeah, they're going to mix some gray seats, some yellow seats.
Yeah, so that's because they don't want it to look quite so embarrassing on national television when people don't show up to Pitt games.
But Megan, it's not just a rumor. It was like confirmed, reported in the Trib that was some of the thinking behind this decision.
Amazing. Good. I'm glad someone got that on the record.
And if you want to read more about this, I wrote about it in yesterday's newsletter. You can see Megan actually provided a great photo of what this like intermixed yellow-gray seating looks like. And I can see how it would make things look a little fuller or a little less empty on the big screen.
You know, now that you're mentioning it, Mallory, I didn't realize what I was even taking a picture of. Like, yes, it is the seats being changed, but I thought the speckled part was like the part they hadn't finished yet. Because it looks kind of like polka dots, like almost Tetris or something, the way it's laid out. Okay. Wow. I don't know how I feel about this now.
Okay. Well, you think on that. But we have more, I don't know, news about rehabbing a space, giving something a new look and purpose. I don't know.
Maybe a controversial purpose too.
Controversial purpose. Yes. So, you know, the reason we started talking about our dreams for former Rite Aids is because there are these spaces all over the city, lots of questions about what's going to happen with them. One of the most prominent visions I've heard was turning, you know, that giant old Rite Aid in Squirrel Hill at the corner of Forbes and Murray, like next to the JCC. There have been plans to turn it into a kosher grocery store.
Oh, that would be great. I keep gasping this episode. Oh my God.
Yeah, but it seems like happy gasps.
Happy gasps. These are all delighted gasps.
Although slightly less delightful, I went to check on the status of that store, and the most recent thing I could find was a Business Times article from March that there was some kind of dispute over this store. So if anybody has updates on that, I would love to hear them. You can call our used to be a Rite Aid hotline at 412-212-8893.
Snaps.
But anyway, all of this is wind up to the fact that right now Walmart is eyeing the former Rite Aid in Bloomfield on Howley Street.
Howley Street's big in the news this week because we just did the episode yesterday talking to Trace Brewing about the brouhaha with their neighbors. Gosh, Howley in the news.
Yeah, Walmart, very different vibe than Trace, I would say. But what's interesting about this story is that this would not be a Walmart where people can go in and do their shopping. This would be a delivery hub that drivers come to pick up items to fulfill same day orders. And so Walmart is asking the city zoning board of adjustment to allow it to use the space as a grocery store. It needs that permission because it has fewer spaces, parking spaces than are required by law. But can you actually define it as a grocery store if it is not open to the public and people can't just stroll in and pick up groceries?
Oh, I get what you're saying. So they need to change the designation so that they can get around the parking requirement. And I guess technically there are groceries in the store because they're just being used as a waypoint, and you'll have to have cold refrigeration in there to keep them from spoiling. Yeah. That feels legally probably fine, but not in the spirit of the law. You know what I mean? Or ordinance.
Yeah. And I mean, props to WESA. I was reading their coverage on this, and it seems like at least the chair of the zoning board is pretty skeptical of this. The chair was quoted as saying, "I think you need to persuade us that this is more like a grocery store than it is like a warehouse."
Fair. I think that's fair. However, I would point out the zoning board and city council and most city officials have also said over and over again that our requirements for parking for various types of things are kind of arcane and keep us from having nice things in our neighborhood. I'm not saying Walmart is the nice thing that Bloomfield wants in its neighborhood, but I don't know that the parking requirement is the hill I would die on. I don't know. I have very mixed feelings about this.
Yes, the piece that feels more complicated is opening a delivery depot in this neighborhood that, there were people in this WESA article saying the community wants a resource that serves them, which a delivery depot doesn't really in the same way.
I imagine it would also bring in quite a bit more traffic too. And I mean, that's, again, to take it back to yesterday's episode with Trace, I feel that was a big part of what we were hearing is that, traffic and noise and things like that, it's a concern of the neighborhood already in some capacity. So is this going to help matters?
100%. Someone, again, in this article, we'll drop it in our show notes, but someone who lives in Bloomfield talked about the fact that this is, in her words, a dangerous intersection, and adding a significant number more trips through the intersection could be a little more risky. But the zoning board has a little bit over a month to decide if they're going to approve this or not. So just going to keep our eyes and see, is Bloomfield getting a Walmart delivery depot?
CityCast Pittsburgh is sponsored by the Frick Pittsburgh Museums and Gardens. If you want a taste of Paris right here in Pittsburgh, their current exhibition is perfect for you. It's called French Moderns, Matisse, Renoir, Degas. We've got in masterworks from all these very famous French artists and more, like Cézanne and Rodin. You don't need to be a dedicated student of art history to appreciate all these works. Yes, they are legends now, but back in their day, these artists were radicals, and some really put a foundational mark on movements that we still celebrate today. I'm talking about realism, impressionism, cubism, surrealism, so much more. It's easy to forget now, but a lot of the reasons we even know about this stuff and we think about Paris and Parisian culture the way we do is because of these artists and what they created back in their time. I personally am really excited to see this exhibition. Maybe chase it with a stop by their little cafe, a stroll through the gardens. You got to take in this Pittsburgh weather while you can. It's going to be great. French Moderns, Matisse, Renoir, Degas at the Frick is open now. Get your tickets at thefrickpittsburgh.org. Okay, still with Mallory here, but we are going to turn now to some more development news. This one harkens back to all our conversations about Pittsburgh Mills Mall and what has been happening over there because their owner, manager, overseer, the folks that have been in the news, Namdar, are going to be taking over a major property downtown. So actually, we're going to bring in CityCast Pittsburgh contributor Colin Williams, who's going to be walking us through the bulk of this.
Yeah, a centerpiece of downtown Pittsburgh real estate has gotten a new owner, and the new owner itself is raising some eyebrows here. If you're not familiar, by the way, with Gateway Center, that's basically just all of the buildings behind the Point and behind the Wyndham Hotel. So this was a marquee redevelopment project in Pittsburgh that cleared out a lot of sort of substandard housing and industrial areas around the Point, as well as the original Pittsburgh Exhibition Center, and replaced them with these fairly modern skyscrapers. I actually used to work in Gateway Center 3, and it's been interesting kind of following the changing fortunes of this development.
Colin, does that mean that you understand the dang numbers? Because I've heard, like, what you just said, Gateway Center 3. I have never understood what that meant. There's like a 1, there's a 2. Is there a 4?
There is a 4, yeah. So 1, 2, and 3 are the big sort of aluminum-clad plus signs. If you see them from the air, they're all kind of cross-shaped. And then there is Gateway Center 4, which is directly across the street. That's kind of between Gateway Center and the United Steelworkers building. And another part of the complex, I don't know if they call it 5 or not, is that apartment building that's right up against the riverfront. So it's a big complex.
Does this include the hotel that's like back, like facing the Point, or is it like the stuff that's in front of that?
So the hotel was built as part of the project, but I believe the ownership remains separate for the hotel itself.
Okay, does it include the T station, which is also called Gateway Center?
That's another good question, but I think that is public infrastructure, probably owned by the county, given its relation to PRT.
Okay, last one. Does it include what used to be a McDonald's?
No, it does not include what used to be a McDonald's. That's
I'm just trying to orient myself here, you know? Like, it's kind of hard to, like, tell. Now I absolutely am going to look at an aerial map of Pittsburgh, though, and try to figure out what these plus signs look like.
Yeah, but so a Gateway Center, you know, it was this centerpiece development for a really long time, but it was affected by some of the COVID woes that affected a lot of office space in Pittsburgh. Hertz, which was their original Los Angeles-based manager, basically fell into default. They had millions of dollars of debt on that property. And the new owner, Namdar, is most well-known locally as being the owner of Pittsburgh Mills. That's been kind of their the biggest bugbear in the area. So they're currently facing millions of dollars in fines for hundreds of code violations at Pittsburgh Mills. That has included basically poor road maintenance. Their potholes there are axle breakers, and the local jurisdictions are very unhappy with how Pittsburgh Mills has not kept up with those. And Trib Live just ran an editorial that basically just said, this sucks. And one thing they point out is that Namdar is the owner of Gateway Center now, but they're not necessarily going to be the manager of the property. And so what sort of remains to be seen in all of this is if they're going to be sort of absentee stewards of this in the way that they've been accused of being in Pittsburgh Mills, or if they're going to maybe delegate some of these responsibilities and give Gateway Center a chance to really be rehabilitated and reused.
I have to imagine that, like, this is like the worst nightmare of the Pittsburgh Public Works Department. Like, Mallory, I'm still flashing back to, like, what was it, a couple of years ago now? We talked to, like, the director at the time who was talking about, like, what it takes to fill potholes in Pittsburgh. And his number one worst place that he could point to was Pittsburgh Mills, and how that parking lot did his car in and how upset he was about it. And, like, he still works at Grant Street, like at City Hall. I've got to imagine he saw this news and he was like, you've got to be kidding me. You came to my town.
Also, if anyone just wants a good time, there's a Facebook group called Pittsburgh Mills Mess that has a lot of great memes about the things you could fill a pothole with. I'm looking at a recent one, Namdar opening up Pittsburgh Mills hot springs, and it's people like sitting in water inside of a pothole in their bikinis.
Oh, that is the best redneck hot tub. Just like stick a tarp in there and you're good to go.
I love this, but I also hate that it's probably like a lot of AI generated stuff to make that work.
I don't think anyone actually tried to create their own spa experience in the Mills parking lot.
I think the biggest question in all of this, though, is this property is really central to Pittsburgh. It is right there when you exit the Fort Pitt Tunnel. If you're watching Sunday Night Football or whatever and the Steelers are playing, you're guaranteed to see shots of Gateway Center in the background. So this is really kind of a showpiece property to the city. And I think if Namdar is negligent, as they've been accused of being at the Mills, this is going to be extremely noticeable to visitors and to locals. And I think folks would get mad about it pretty fast. So we'll see kind of how this all progresses. But it's a big development for downtown, especially given just the kind of crash of the commercial real estate market and the ongoing transition to a more residential model.
Okay, now we're going to turn to a little something new that we're going to try from time to time where we tell you about events. So events are something that we do here at CityCast. We've been doing them for a long time. We take them very seriously. We try to curate a good list for yins. And they're always on our website at pittsburgh.citycast.fm/events. But also, if you're a member of CityCast, if you become one of our neighbors, then you also get an email every Monday that previews the week ahead. So this is going to be a little tiny taste, an extension of that, where you get to see what a couple of things are that we really, really love, we're excited about. And joining us for our first one and for her final day is Francesca Dabecco, our newsletter editor, has been from the beginning. You've been curating amazing things in Pittsburgh, like truly brilliant experiences from the beginning of CityCast back in 2022. So we get to go out on a high note. We get to start on a high note. I don't know my verbs here, but anyway, it's you. You're the one. You're telling us what to go to this week.
Thank you. It does feel right that this is my thing I'm leaving everybody with, but please know I'll still be around telling stories in the Berg. I'm not exactly sure what it looks like yet, but look for my name out there. There will still be things, and I hope to appear back on the podcast from time to time too.
Yes, we will remain in touch, and I will be bullying you to tell me good things in the Berg.
Yes, and it would be my honor. This is honestly one of my favorite things to do because some things about me, my biggest pet peeve is when people say there's nothing to do in Pittsburgh.
Lol.
I could just combust in that moment. And then another thing is I'm just like a big believer in being a tourist in your own backyard. And with that said, I am a proud North Sider, but for what I'm leaving you all with today, I would like to take you to the south side of Pittsburgh, cross a river, because it is one of my, missions to be more of an explorer and get out of my own side of the river, my side of the Allegheny.
Absolutely.
So everything that I'm recommending this week is on the south of the Mon.
Whoa, that is different for you. Okay, bring it.
Isn't it? Yes. Okay, so starting with Friday and Saturday, July 17th and 18th, Cyclops Tattoo is having a tattoo show called Icon, and they are celebrating 20 years of their tattoo shop. And I actually talked to one of the tattoo artists there and friend of the show, Jess Scatella, and they said that there used to be like 15 tattoo shops on East Carson Street. And so
I believe it.
It's really a big deal that this one has been surviving and thriving, really have been a mainstay there on the south side. And so they're bringing in about a dozen artists from all over the country, friends of theirs who they've been to tattoo shows with. Yeah. And they really specialize in that Americana style. So like very bold, traditional, like solid, clean work, often with lots of color. And so if you're looking to get a tattoo, they are first come, first serve. All of the artists there are going to have flash designs, and you can sign up on sheets for like specific artists. If there's, these people are pretty coveted. I feel like they're coming in from all over. They're going to have live DJs, some really cool vendors around town, and some partnerships with other local businesses there. So like Churn, the ice cream spot, Standing Wave Coffee, East Carson Street Deli. So it's going to be 2 days, a really fun celebration of just their legacy there on the South Side, but art and this community there. And, Jess said that they're really excited about, the DJs they're bringing in, some cool tunes, and just, being able to really be a part of that tattoo community there.
Yeah, I feel like I've learned so much about like what is possible, like what ambition and art and creativity and even spirituality can mean in the tattoo community through, I guess I'll call it like the extended Jess network. They've been all over the world, like doing this exact thing, popping up at someone else's shop and doing like really spectacular work. So it's really neat and not surprising in the slightest that this same like family of tattoo artists are bringing folks to them and sharing this like incredible gift with Pittsburghers who want to have this kind of work too, but maybe can't travel to London or Japan or other places where these pop-ups sometimes happen.
Totally. And 2 decades. What an accomplishment.
Yeah, good for Yins.
So also on Friday, July 17th, there's an event called Floriography. Megan, have you ever heard of that word before?
I don't think so. Is this like florals and also writing?
Kind of. So Florography is the act of like the cryptic communication and coded messages through the uses of flower arrangements. So
Okay, I feel good about my guess. Wow.
I think that was really spot on, honestly. And so, different flowers and colors have mean certain things for different communities, or representing, like if you're gifting flowers, for example, like funerals, some things, represent things for, grief and there's that's a whole endless world that I'm not going to get into. But this event is really interesting. It's like a combination of art, nature, and food. And so this event, it's $25. They're going to have craft cocktails with appetizers, different art installations, so actual like photography in addition to painted art. And it all sort of leans into the storytelling through flowers. I talked to one of the event organizers, DC, and he says that he's planning some really interesting themed appetizers for the whole flower thing. So one of them is lamb meatballs with sumac yogurt and dried roses, paired with a sumac gin and tonic. And then he was really excited about this candied bacon bouquet he was making. So the skewers are green to sort of mimic the stem, and it's going to be drenched in a date syrup and paired with a date old fashioned. So they're really getting creative and having a fun time. And it's really just
fancy.
I know. And it's $25. So, I mean, he says that this came about because he has this group of friends who all work in different art mediums, and they're really like self-made kind of people. And he thought that it was a really great symbolism with the flowers, growing out of nothing and really just like blooming together in that strength. And they're asking people attending to wear colors that correlate with different roses. So shades of white, yellow, red, and pink. So when you have an opportunity to like get immersed in art, dress up a little bit, have some fun food, it just sounds like a really cool, artsy, fun vibe on the South Side.
Definitely. Okay. 1 and 2. What's number 3?
Okay. Number 3, we've talked about the Great Pittsburgh Book Crawl on the podcast a couple of times. This is 9 straight days of shopping local at indie bookstores, and that starts this weekend. But one event that's happening in correlation with that is the grand opening of the Book Deli in Allentown. So it's a new bookstore, and they're going to have bookish vendors. So actual like people selling books in addition to vendors selling their creations that are sort of book themed. They're going to have live music. The Bottle Rocket Social Hall Bottle Dogs cart is going to be there. So some good hot dogs. But what I love about this spot is that they operate on a system where you pay by the pound, like a deli.
Like the books by the pound?
Yes.
Oh, no. So you'd really be like done dirty if you like those like giant tomes of like dragon smut and whatever.
I guess so.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
like fantasy romance?
Yeah. I honestly, I don't know. A lot of their books are used, so I imagine they have a pretty reasonable price model.
Oh, I'm sure. I love it. It's very kitschy. That's like such a fun concept.
It is. And I've never seen another bookstore like that. I like peeped at some of their photos, and they have like one of those true large scales on their checkout counter.
Is it one of the like old school ones like you would see in like a grocery store? I asked because like obviously Allentown loves like the old, the obscure, the like slightly offbeat.
I will say it definitely didn't look new.
Okay.
I don't know if it was like quite the deli counter style. I don't have to go see it in person, but
now I'm scrolling their Insta. That's so fun.
I know. And get a good book. Take it on your lunch break, truly.
You know what? This does look like a deli way, like a regular way. Like not the one in my Giant Eagle, but like I have seen something like this in a deli counter before. This is great.
Yes. I love it. So yes, I will leave you with that. Be like me and try to cross the river from time to time and explore a neighborhood that you haven't been to or don't hang out in all the time. So this seems to be a really fun weekend on the South Side.
Yeah. Be a tourist in your own city. We will keep these coming. Let us know if you like it. We've got some new stuff that we're going to be trying out here on the show, and we want to hear from you. Neighbors, non-neighbors, folks that are with us have been with us for 5 minutes or the whole 5 years, let us know what you think. You can always hit us up at 412-212-8893. And you can find Francesca on the Instagram. And you can still tell us to tell her things. We will continue to be in the loop. Yeah.
They'll forward the emails. Yes, I'm on Instagram, Francesca_Dabecco. I like to be silly on the internet sometimes. So I don't know. Find me out there. I'll see yous out there.
Always in the fam. Love you, girl.
Love you too.
That is all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. All the details are at membership.citycast.fm. We'll be back tomorrow with more from around the city. We'll talk to you soon.
A dead mall surrounded by a lunar landscape of potholes.